On this episode of Trend Chat, we'll talk a little bit about President Trump, a little bit on the Emmys, which, who knows, may turn into a rant, and our interview with Rachel Burgin. So stick around to this episode of Trend Chat. Welcome everybody. Welcome again to another episode of Trend Chat. I'm your host, Brian Bledsoe. And if you want to connect with us, whether on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, just go to the same name, which is Trend Chat 24/7. And I write for politichicks.com. If you want to read some of my articles, just go to politichicks.com/author/Brian Bledsoe. And don't forget about the book, Politichicks: A Clearing Call to Political Activism, which is available now at Barnes & Noble and Amazon. And it contains over 300 pages from different contributors like myself talking about healthcare, education, activism, which my article is in that section, talking about my time as a delegate at the Republican National Convention. So, as I've said before, pick up 5 copies for yourself, then buy 5 more for somebody else. I just wanted to say that. I don't know how many times, I think people maybe heard on other episodes that sometimes I kind of just let the music play on. I actually just like the music. Like I said before, I play the music just when I'm just riding down the road sometimes. But sometimes, like when I do the little intro and then I play the music, y'all don't see me. I've said this before, but like I'm kind of still like doing a little chair dancing to the song. But y'all ain't here for me to talk about my chair dancing, so let's get straight into it. Just a couple of topics, I guess, involving President Trump. One in particular that's going on today is that President Trump is at the UN. That being the United Nations. Now, I was actually called sometime last week by a reporter asking me, well, what do you think President Trump should do when we had the speech at the UN? Which at that time, I remembered that he was going, but as far as like even having an idea what his agenda was, I couldn't think of something. What was he going to be focused on at the time when the reporter called? But the one thing that just stuck out is that, okay, North Korea kind of just stuck in my head. And I was like, I can't remember the quote that is in the article, but I just said, hopefully he can convince the rest of the, United Nations, or some of them at least, to get tough on North Korea. And that's basically all I said. I said a little bit more, but that's all that got into the article. So I don't even remember everything else. But I'm the speech at the UN is over now, I'm guessing, by now. And I didn't get a chance to hear it all. I was actually thinking of what I was going to say on here, actually. And also my primary job of being a truck driver, just kind of waiting on things to work out this morning as far as getting on the road. But that being said, let me also say we are broadcasting right now out of Augusta, Georgia. And just want to say that. Kind of just want to give people an idea of where I'm at. Because, like I said, I'm a truck driver, so most times I'm definitely in another city from the last episode for the most part. I doubt I ever have an episode that I'm in the same place unless I'm like off or something. So just kind of give you a reference about where I'm at when I'm doing these, doing the podcast. So, yeah, it's also, I guess, another topic involving President Trump, which is a little bit funny because I remember when Trump was talking about being wiretapped and everybody in the media just got so up in arms saying he's lying. There's no way the government will wiretap you. And CNN definitely was one of them, going with multiple segments on TV and articles on the website, basically calling President Trump a liar for even bringing up the thought of the government wiretapping him or anybody in his campaign. But now, in the past couple of days, that, one of those outlets, CNN, has come out with a story saying that, oh yeah, he was wiretapped. Oh, well, isn't that funny? Like, what, about a month or two late with that breaking news? And so now that, if CNN says that it's true, so now they're going to run with it now. Because now they're like, well, okay, well, now we see that it's true. And it's not like they'll take back all what they said about President Trump before. It's like, well, we found out through our investigative journalism that it's true. So maybe you probably think twice before just going so outrageous with your criticism about something. So, yeah, that's about it on that. But kind of keeping on President Trump, because we're kind of going in a bit of a timeline, is I remember last week I was talking about DACA. And at that time, this was before the deal, or at least the talks of a deal with the Democrats. So now that's been out there, and here we are. And now President Trump has it's not a deal right now, but is in talks of making a deal for DACA, which, well, not just for DACA, but it's included in whatever deal as far as, so they were talking about, I guess, heightened border security included in that deal, which whatever that means. The whole idea of the wall is kind of a little fuzzy all of a sudden now. I mean, I remember during the campaign talking about this big, glorious wall that's going to be like 100 feet high. And every time someone said it wouldn't happen, he's talking about, I'm adding another 10 feet to the wall or something, Anyone who was following the campaign, he was talking about the wall a lot. And now it's kind of like, I don't know, the definition of a wall is I saw a article talking about that they were trying to talk about the definition of a wall, which time I saw that, the first thing that came to my mind is like Bill Clinton as far as what the definition of is. And now we're talking about what the definition of a wall, and even though during the campaign, you can find at that time candidate Trump saying one thing, and then you can probably find a tweet some other time, or he can do an interview and say something that kind of contradicts what he campaigned on, and vice versa. So for me, this is not really shocking to hear about him dealing with Democrats. It's something that he actually talked about doing. So this is not for me, and it's not like I was part of some secret meeting. This was in an interview that he mentioned about doing this. Now, he didn't say he was going to do this for DACA. I mean, obviously, who would know what the issue would be that you would work with the Democrats on? But that being said, I knew he would do it eventually. One, because he said it. And I know you have a good number of, well, I can say a good number. I don't know how many, but you definitely have vocal supporters of President Trump that are definitely disappointed in what's going on the past week or so. Now, the thing about that, when I hear about all this, is because I will see some people on social media that will call it a betrayal. I come across a story of people burning their MAGA hats. Now, I don't know how many people are doing that, how many people are really that upset. But to the people who are, I guess the question I would ask is this a breaking point for you to not support President Trump in 2020? I don't know. But I do know this. If he continues this path of basically, I guess you say, working with both sides, it's definitely going to alienate more than anything he thinks he's going to gain from whether it's independents or Democrats in general, if any. So I don't see how this is helping him at all, really. Like I said, even though for me, he said he was going to do this, but I just don't see how it is really going to help him. And because, for one, independents, well, I would probably say, Democrats especially, they're pretty set in their ways and in their way of thinking that, President Trump is the most evil man alive that ever lived. And they're going to keep on that narrative. And I don't see that changing anytime soon, no matter how much he reaches across the aisle and do these deals and with whoever, whether it's Chuck Schumer or Nancy Pelosi or whoever. So here we are again, basically with a immigration topic. Like, we're not talking about immigration as a whole. We're just talking about this one thing as far as DACA. But if this whole deal goes through and nothing, the people who are here illegally and nothing happens and there's no punishment, basically you have turned this into another magnet for people to come across the border in the future. And I don't know, whether it's Reagan or Bush or Clinton or now Trump. You have people who go ahead and break the law, and eventually, if they know they won't be punished if you break the law, except for instance, like crossing the border or something like that. Then what's the incentive to stop people from doing that in the future? Because we have other examples. So you have the amnesty with President Reagan. You have as far as what President Bush was trying to do, and you have this with President Trump now. I don't see anything that is deterring anyone in other countries to just come over here illegally, as opposed to try to get here legally. Do it the right way. Because they've seen time and time again of other examples of people coming here illegally. And then if you hide out long enough, or if you just hold out long enough, then nothing's going to happen to you. So, like I said, I don't see what's going to stop future illegal immigrants to not do the same thing. But yeah, it's we've had Obamacare now. How that basically is not going anywhere, it seems like. And now you have what's going on with this, and who knows what's going to happen with the wall, and who knows what's going to happen as far as any sort of immigration reform, or what they're going to do about illegal immigration. It's, who knows? Like I said, we're seeing President Trump, if he's going to reach across the aisle, I guess if you want to say on this, well, what's the next thing he's going to reach across the aisle on? Who knows what it's going to be now? But that's pretty much all I had. I just those are thoughts I've had about those particular topics involving President Trump. Now, before we get to the next topic, I guess we'll play a word from our friends with the Founding Project.
Hello, Trend Chat listeners. If you like the Founding Project's Civics Education video series, Civics for All Ages, and our educational meme series, we think you will love our new website. Join us at thefoundingproject.com and be a part of the civics movement. The Founding Project is a 501c3 education nonprofit. Please join us today.
You know, the Emmys was on Sunday. Had to think about it for a second. And like I said, this is not going to be a rant. Let me stop lying. This probably will be a rant. But, you know, the fun thing about it, I didn't even know the Emmys was, I guess, about to start until I saw the hashtags coming up on Twitter. I was like, oh, I was just going through my Twitter feed and I'm like, oh, the Emmys are today. Like, I don't remember any announcement or any commercial or anything like that. Well, I mean, given that I'm not really watching television, especially network television, that much, so I guess it's just not. I don't even remember what channel it was on. Was it CBS? I'm guessing, given that Colbert was the host, I'm guessing so. But I don't even remember. But I just saw that it was on, and I'm like, okay. And even though I saw the hashtags and noticed that it was about to start, I was like, I don't care to watch. I have no interest anymore at all. Even when I did have interest in it, in watching, it wasn't that much. And so now, given that you basically know what it's going to be about, Stephen Colbert basically told everyone what it's going to be about. And so I believed him in how he said it was going to happen, how the show is going to be based on for a lot of it. Yes, we're going to give out some awards, but we're also going to, try to bash Trump as much as possible. It's basically what was, I guess, told through by Stephen Colbert in this interview. So I'm like, well, I mean, what's the point? I mean, most of these shows I don't care about anyway, and then also to hear them go on a 3-hour wailing about President Trump. I mean, I don't care about hearing all that. So yeah, I pretty much just skipped it and just caught some stuff on whether Facebook or Twitter about maybe who won. Now, I did have one prediction. I forgot what episode it was, but a couple episodes back when the nominees was announced, I said, I don't know about anything else in the Emmys. I don't know who's going to win what, but I do know one person that is guaranteed to win. Just by hearing, I mean, I didn't even have to hear the nomination. I knew this guy was going to be nominated and he's also going to win. And so I said Alec Baldwin's going to win. He's going to be nominated and he's going to win. That's 100% guarantee. Now, I didn't say 100%. I said 99 because it just can't be. I'm just not one of those people that just says 100%, but I was like 99.95% that Alec Baldwin was going to win because it was just too easy for these liberals in Hollywood to just laud their praise upon Alec Baldwin and his great performance of President Trump. I mean, it was just too easy. So that was easy to figure out, and it happened. So I did get that right. Now, all the other awards and best supporting actress, I don't even remember the nominees and none of that, but I did know that was going to happen, and just to show it did. Now, you had to all the other, I guess, stories that happened in during the Emmys with Dolly Parton, Jane Fonda, forgot who else was up there now. But anyway, they were doing this whole 9 to 5 where they're basically just using that song to mock Trump or just to say mean things about Trump. So, and you had other, I guess, other little segments where you had, Stephen Colbert, his whole little 5-minute monologue, just basically just lamenting about President Trump and whatnot. So, like I said, that's the reason I'm like, what's the point of even watching this? It's just gonna be nonstop this of them just talking, basically trying to, I guess, vent their frustration about not having Hillary Clinton as their president right now. So now the thing about it, I tend to want to say, I tend to say it myself, man, and you hear it a lot, that whenever these shows go on, people say, well, who cares what they think, and they don't mean it, they don't matter anyway, so who, forget them, just don't watch or whatnot. Yeah, I can agree with that, but it's not really that simple, because whether we like it or not, these people, especially, whether it's the Emmys or the Oscars or the Grammys or whatever, all these people have pretty much at least 250,000 followers on social media, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. And to those people, their opinions do matter, and they know that. These celebrities know that these people listen to every word, and basically, I was just like these sycophants. For the most part, there's some people that are just like so devoted to these celebrities. So when they say something political, they take it as gospel. And so we could say as much as we want that these people don't matter. We don't. Who cares what they think? There's a good section of the population who do care what they think, and unfortunately, they hear them say all these things, whether it's true or not. They just, their fans are just taking it all in and basically being influenced to basically see the president how these celebrities are seeing. And so that's why they keep doing this. That's why they keep making these movies with this liberal bent, because they are having some sort of influence over the people that follow them. So in that sense, you kind of have to take that into account when you're talking about, celebrities in general. Because, like I said, these people have millions of followers that are like, oh, this so-and-so celebrity says the president is evil. I like so-and-so celebrity, so I think he's evil too. That, kind of that sheep mentality. But one last thing about the Emmys is that there was one clip that I saw that kind of really stuck out, as this actress named Issa Rae. I don't care if I'm saying her name right, but basically someone asked her who she's rooting for as far as for the Emmys, and she said, I'm rooting for anybody black. And there's already been commentary about it, and for me, just hearing that, it was really sad to see, even though she was chuckling it up, her in the interview, or whoever she was, and they was, ha ha ha, but I just thought it was sad, because it feel like we have basically gotten to the point that we have regressed to this right now, to where we root for someone just based on the color of their skin. I mean, not because of talent. I want that person to win just because, that person's black. And I just found that really sad. Because, I'm pretty sure when people talk about back in the day, I guess you just say that, where at that time you had white people that would say that that would show that I'm supporting whoever, like in sports or a boxer. So if you had a boxing match, especially back in the 50s or whatnot, or back when Joe Louis was fighting, if you had a white boxer and a black boxer, automatically white people will get behind the white boxer just because he's white. Not because he's maybe a better boxer, just because he's white. And, whether we're talking about just sports or even just politics, if that way of thinking was considered ignorant and racist to think that way for white people back then, what makes it any different for anyone now to have those same feelings? I don't care if you're a minority, but to have those sort of feelings, the exact same feelings that if a white person said that now or did that before, if you found out about it in the past, you would call them evil, ignorant, racist. But yet now you have a black person has no problem saying that, and unfortunately that is somewhat accepted in a way now to say that. And that's not acceptable. I don't care how many people think it is, but it's not acceptable. It wasn't acceptable then, but when white people did it, it's not acceptable for us as black people or any minority to do it now. So that, oh, yep, that was a rant. Yep, that was officially a rant. I said I wasn't going to do it. There I go. I did it. But before we get to our interview with Rachel Burgin, let's hear another word from the Founding Project.
Hello, Trend Chat fans. The Founding Project invites you to experience our latest resource to take civics to citizens, TFP's new website. Visit us at www.thefoundingproject.com. Be a part of the civics movement with the Founding Project. The Founding Project is a 501c3 education nonprofit. Join us today.
You know what? Actually, I said that was a rant, but maybe it wasn't. I really don't actually know what is the minute, the time limit for a rant to be. What is it considered a rant? But I don't know. I just thought about that just now. But let's get to our interview with Rachel Burgin. She was, well, she still is down in Florida, and we wanted to touch base with her and first find out how she's doing and how the recovery going, and just talk a little bit about the Grassroots Leadership Academy, which she's a trainer for, and also about her time as a Florida state rep. So here's our interview with Rachel. Hello, this is Trend Chat, and we are pleased to have a trainer with the Grassroots Leadership Academy with Americans for Prosperity Foundation, Rachel Burgin, with us. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Brian?
I'm doing great myself, but I definitely want to ask how you're doing because you're down in Florida. So first question, how is everything with you, and how were you affected with Hurricane Irma?
Yes, so our family was very, very fortunate to not receive too much damage to our property that we live on. Only a couple trees down, and we had some branches and things that were bad. But definitely our neighbors and our friends close by to us have had some pretty significant effects. We've had trees fall on houses and lots of flooding and power out. Several of our neighbors had power out for about 6 days. So there's a lot of folks who are still struggling with the impact of the hurricane, and we're just trying to work on helping people rebuild.
Yeah, and so far as the recovery efforts, is like what is going on right now?
Yeah, so we even just yesterday I was driving down the road and I saw we had linemen that were down from Indiana, from South Dakota even, that were working on power lines and so forth in our area to help get the restoration of electricity back. And so, there have been folks that have come down from all across the country to bring supplies, to bring food, to bring tarps, to help people cover their houses. And some of the locations will just have to wait till the water subsides before we can start helping with cleanup. So it's just going to depend on where you are. But I know that there have been lots of help from across the country of people coming down to help restore the power lines and so forth. So we are very, very thankful to those different states and the folks who've come in to help us get back online.
Have you, have you seen FEMA, or as far as, the large groups, as far as when it comes to helping out during, natural disasters?
Yeah, so I haven't seen any large groups specifically myself, but I know that they are out there, and that there's been a really significant amount of help that's been provided. We've had offices that have set up all over the state to help people, in almost like a rapid response center where people can go in and give their information and try to get special assistance. So I know that it's out there. I haven't seen it myself yet. That doesn't mean that they're not working. I know that there's been lots of engagement in different communities, so we're thankful.
Okay. So, like I mentioned that you are a trainer with the Grassroots Leadership Academy. How has that affected what you're doing as far as anything with them?
Yeah, sure. So I do train with the Grassroots Leadership Academy, and we have had some certification trainings that have been going on in the state right now in Florida, and we've had to rearrange them a little bit. But we have, I think 6 different locations, 5 or 6 trainings that are going on right now in the state of Florida. So we have students that are going to classes each week through the Grassroots Leadership Academy throughout the state. And they did miss a couple of trainings to get started, but we're going to start strong this week and get them all caught up on their courses, and they'll be ready to go. So as a former graduate, Brian, you know what that looks like. They'll be starting week 3 this week, and they'll learn on how to build their communities and their coalitions in their communities. So we're excited, and I don't think they will have received too much of a delay in getting started on their training. So we're excited to be doing these classes in Florida this week.
Well, with this hurricane that went through Florida, that definitely is a good way to, to have a real world situation as far as helping out the community. So, but now I want to ask you, just tell us everything about the Grassroots Leadership Academy as far as how it works.
Yeah, sure. So the Grassroots Leadership Academy was founded really to engage citizens on how they can be the most effective organizers within their community, whether it be taking on a issue-based campaign, or whether they want to work on a nonprofit issue, or whatever it is that they're designed to do as far as building their community locally and organizing to help their community be a stronger place. That's what we are doing, and so therefore we have trained about almost 3,000 graduates, I think, around the country, and we have been able to help individuals go and work on building their community locally. And you are a graduate of our program, so you remember very much what it was like to go through the training for each and every week. But we have a great team of trainers across the country who are really experts in their fields of being able to teach folks real grassroots activism and how to do that in the most effective way. And so we can have as many as a couple of hundred trainings in a month around the country at this point, and we're excited to be able to do that.
Yeah, and if people are interested in wanting to take part in that, where would they go?
They will go to the grassrootsleadershipacademy.com, and I think it's actually just grassrootsleadershipacademy.com, and that will take them to see if there is a training that's in their community. We have all of our trainings listed on the website, so they can go online and see those.
Yeah, and this definitely is a great program. Like Rachel mentioned, I went through it, and it definitely is what help anyone is interested in being in grassroots activism and wanting to just get the basics, to as far as engaging in their community. Now, one other question I wanted to ask: you are a former Florida state representative, correct?
That is correct. Yes, I am.
Tell us your experiences being a Florida state rep.
Yes, sure. So I was elected to the Florida House of Representatives back in 2008. I serve the city of Tampa and all of eastern Hillsborough County area, not the entire part of eastern Hillsborough County, but a good portion of it, and was able to go and represent my community in the Florida House and work on things that were really important to my district. We were going through a pretty significant budget crisis at the time in the state. We're going through a very hard part of the recession, and so fighting back taxes and making sure that we were not putting in new regulations was something that was really paramount to my time in the Florida House. We were looking at about $11 billion deficit at one point in time, so a lot of times political leaders want to fill those holes with higher taxes. And at the time, our residents couldn't pay anymore. So it was really interesting time to be elected in the legislature, and really across the country, I'm sure, but especially in Florida. And I worked on higher education issues. I worked on regular K-12 education. I served on the agriculture committee. I was the vice chair of transportation and economic development. So it was a really interesting time to be part of the legislature. And then also serve my community and my state in that way.
Okay. And with I guess with everything going on with the hurricane, but are you, as far as getting back on the road, as far as what you're doing, as far as training with the Grassroots Leadership Academy?
Yeah, so I was able to be home this last week to kind of prepare and help my family with power outages and everything else going on. And so I'll be back on the road, getting ready to leave this week to go to Wisconsin to do a training in La Crosse, Wisconsin. And then I'll go next week to Montana to do a certification training out there. So usually when we go in to do a state, we have multiple locations where we will do a certification training at that time. So I'm excited to be able to be back on the road and doing training with our folks and teaching them the important skills and how to mobilize. And we're going to be learning some great skills on how to effectively communicate your message and your story. And so it's exciting to be able to be back out with the activists. So that's where I really enjoy spending the most of my time.
So last question, not really so much a question, just want to let you just tell everyone where to go as far as for Grassroots Leadership Academy and where to find you on social media and all that jazz.
So yes, you can find us at the grassrootsleadershipacademy.org, and you can just go on our website and find us there. You can also find us on Twitter at GLA Training. And then also you can find us on Facebook, on our Facebook group as well. So any of those places you can find us. We post on Twitter frequently and on Facebook frequently. And also, as I mentioned, on our website, you can find any of the locations that have trainings going on right now. So just go to the website and you can find where those trainings. And we also have a really great blog that we post new material out pretty frequently. So if you want to go and check us out there, that's great.
All right. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for all that you're doing with the Grassroots Leadership Academy.
Thank you so much for having me on. And as a former student, I'm very proud of all that you're doing, and I really enjoy this podcast. I listen to it actually as I travel on the road, and so thank you for all that you do, and you're keeping us all educated and informed, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, it's definitely due to you because I guess started for me. I'm pretty sure that's basically where a lot of it kind of started and going to the other sessions. So I thank you.
Good. Well, I'm glad I could have inspired you, and I appreciate your work, and I'm definitely going to share it with others.
Yep, and thanks to Rachel for joining us. And as I've said in the interview, the Grassroots Leadership Academy is a really great program. And as she said, just go to Grassroots Leadership Academy, I think .com or .org. I forgot all of a sudden. But definitely head there, and if you want to get some tools as far as wanting to engage with your community. So I appreciate everyone listening in. And one thing I do want to mention is that, again, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, it's all the same name, Trend Chat 24/7. And if you like this episode or any other episode, like it, share it, become a follower on Spreaker or write a review on iTunes. All that, every bit of that is appreciated right now. Just to kind of, so I know, just to see if anyone's listening out there, I guess. Like, hey, even in hearing Rachel saying about listening to the podcast, I'm like, oh, great. It's cool. Because I hear it from time to time, but it never gets old. Definitely it's not for me. This is only episode 56. So, and before then, I never even thought about doing anything like this. So to hear someone say that they listen to the podcast, I really appreciate hearing it. And even like when I look at the stats, I've said this before, just to see one play on my stats, I'm like, hey, somebody listen. That's kind of cool. And that's how it is for me right now. At least it's not like where I'm expecting to get like so many different plays. And one thing I did want to mention right quick is that I actually looked at the stats and just trying to see what was the most listened to episode lately, because I already knew what it was before, but now it has changed actually. It kind of came out of nowhere for me. I'm like, oh, this is wow, and it was like far and beyond the most listened to. And actually, I'm gonna replay the episode sometime this week, and you'll know then which episode I'm talking about. Like I said, that being said, I say again, appreciate y'all listening, and this is available on Spreaker. Thanks to Spreaker for having me on to give me this platform, as always. Also available on Google Play, iTunes, and iHeartRadio. So any one of those that you can find, I'm on there. Just search Trend Chat. So appreciate everyone listening, and until next time, we'll chat with you later.